I'm not saying this in a comedic sense, but you were born to judge the world. It's a wonderful time to be you. A spiritual person at this time in what seems to be history, but there is no history, there is no time. There are no elements or increments. Nothing material ever existed to the spiritually aware. We just ride through this as a cloud through the early morning sky, don't we? And no one knows it. But I know when I was in Asia somewhere doing something and I felt bad writing my dad, and my dad wrote back a letter, said, "No, don't worry, son, I always feel your presence." And that shocked me because my dad was a very serious homicide detective, and so it made me very happy to understand, because as a spiritual person, my presence is everything. It's not mine, and I always hide it, and I'm kind of shy. It's truly shy inside and humble. And I've done everything, can do everything, but it's like your biggest trauma in life is humility. Not because there's something wrong with us. It's not a debilitating disease. It's because if you're spiritual, this world doesn't exist, so you don't know how to present yourself because you have to be something, and you're nothing. As soon as you step into the condition of spirituality, of enlightenment, nirvana, illumination, the world doesn't exist, and you're not shy because you're part of everything. It's a beauty, it's wonderful. Kindness, it's endlessly more kind than kind. But in the world, you're humble, you're shy, you're considerate, you're well-intended, and it takes a lot to step out of that to create something in the world, because the world does not want that. It wants you to act worldly, to act like a material being, to live like that. And all we have to meet that halfway at a point. That's why we're volunteers in this army. We appear to this madness, and we understand it, and it's very, 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 very painful, very disturbing, very confusing. But we can live through it. You will live through it by simply understanding what was just stated. There's nothing wrong with you. You are a spiritual presence. You are a great hero in heaven because you dropped into this horror. This is hell. Nothing in the world is meant. It is a temptation, and it's very conscious, and all of it works together to keep you involved in it. And as soon as you understand that, you've won the war. And it will hit you harder than ever, and you'll win another battle, and another battle. And one day, if I might say like myself, you'll wake up, and even though you've felt it all your life, it's infinitely more than that. Our closest to God is infinitely more than that, and our understanding that the world is a temptation is more apparent than ever. So we can just sit back in that great atmosphere all day, but we don't, because we go out into the field of battle like Arjuna in the Bhagavad Gita, to do our duty, our due diligence, to rise up, to raise a spiritual army, which means compassion, understanding, expressing this contemplative lifestyle that transcends everything. You transcend everything. You're not your body or your mind or your problems or the solution to your problems. You're made of spiritual light and kindness and truth and eternity. And this present world is as a bubble in a stream to you, isn't it? You can look back, we'll say, on lifetimes, or you can drop lifetimes or everything that ever seemed to be in this world and pierce through the shroud with the eyes of mystery and wonder. You are a great, great, great presence, born at a most propitious time. You're here to disband all the invisible armies, aren't you? You know that. I know that you know that. So sit back deep in your saddle and understand you're contemplative in a hell. And the whole thing has been coming at you and setting you up since childhood, hasn't it? But that which we call God has maneuvered it in such a way that you understand what's said at this time. And that which is called God is that which is you. Isn't it you? I said it with unimaginable humility before God, but God will be giving us more of God's self in eternity. It's so special and wonderful. It's true love. It's the love we have for someone in our life or our mother, where no matter what, we'll always be humble, we'll always do the right thing. My buddy Greg, he's a mama's boy, but he's a 10th degree martial artist, and he's achieved everything in music, in art, in business, world champion many times, teaches many kids to be world champions in martial arts, but because he loves his mother so much, he's always contrite and humble and always going to do the right thing. Almost to a sickening extent, just always going to be a goody two-shoes, and yet he's this powerful man. So because he's humble before his mom. I love my mom that way, or my teacher Kathleen, or my buddy, my partner in this work, Susan. It's just always, there are people that make you humble, that keep you clean inside. You see what I'm saying? You're not tempted. You don't want anything of this world. You just want that person to not be hurt anymore ever. I don't want God to be hurt anymore ever. That's why I'm here. You will fulfill a most spiritual destiny. That's why you're here. That's why the devil, that this whole world, they say not to give it anything. It's if you know it's fear-based, and everything, all the conditioning of that seems to be this world, everything is a temptation, then it'll fall apart. You'll walk through it. Right now you're like, who's the one from the Bible holding up the world, or that Hercules? It's like you're holding up the world, all the conditions around you, because you want the innocent to escape, don't you? You know what I'm saying. Your true love, your mom, your dad, your people, your tribe. And you see through all tribes, and that's not going to do it. Tribes in the world. You see the invisible armies of the world that are hellacious. And you're going to look them in the eye like I do all day. Their time has passed. You are God's presence. Accept nothing less. You live a great life of understanding and wisdom and truth and power. You've achieved things. And more than that, you've been tripped up day and night in different subtle ways with people around you, circumstances, conditions, and it's all part of the temptation. If you know that, your material life will work for you enough to move through this valley of despair. And you and that which God is will again be one presence, said quite humbly. Thank you for listening.